day to you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, the superhero of stand-up comedy, Dan Brown, and this is Comic on Comics here on the Media Junkies channel. Some of you out there know me for my love for two particular things: comic books, professional wrestling. Perfect way to do this episode. We're going to do the pro wrestling comic books. Yes, some of you guys out there know exactly what I'm talking about. You can go out right now. You can get the Boom Studios WWE line that they got going on right now. Check your local comic book store. Perhaps they have the old Chaos line from back in the 90s, early 2000s. Also in the 2010s area, 2010, 2014, there was a WWE Superstars issues that were coming out. Unfortunately, I could not find them as I have comics in boxes and boxes and they're not organized. Authored by Mick Foley. Those are good reads as well. And of course, everyone's cult favorites, the WCW World Championship Wrestling comic books. To me, these books are a lot like the Batman movies. You know, the WCW books are a lot like Adam West. The Chaos story, as well as Mick Foley's story, is kind of like the Joel Schumacher versions of Batman. And of course, the new Boom Studios, I'm going to say that's like the Nolan verse that we got going out there. And those are not knocks on anything. Okay, as a Batman fan, I love all those movies for their own reasons. Okay, I'm not saying every one of them is Oscar worthy. I'm not saying everyone's performance in them were great. I'm just saying that I have my love for them for very different reasons, which is a perfect reason why we should start off with the WCW series. Clearly the Adam West series. It is a little bit of a campy version. The way it plays off, at least for the most part, they're playing it off kind of like it's an episode of WCW television. Kind of like you're watching like an old episode of the Power Hour or Saturday Night. You know, there's just some things that do happen in the books that, you know, if they weren't filming the show, would have happened off camera. But it is a lot like you're watching your old favorite TV show, and you're getting to watch it, a lot of nostalgia. You're looking at the old Sting with the old colorful makeup. You get to see Johnny B. Bad. You get to see younger Jim Ross, Paulie Dangerously, Lex Luger, Diamond Stud. I want you guys to go out there and Google him. The Steiners and Cactus Jack, along with a bunch of other people, Vader, Ron Simmons. Excuse me as I'm losing my voice here. I read it for the old nostalgic feeling. I strongly suggest you guys take the time, read those. It's a fun 5 to 10 minute, however long it takes for you to read your comic books. But it's definitely worth it, especially if you're a fan. Go out and check them out. The old Chaos line. I got the Rock book here somewhere. I got an Undertaker book too. This one here is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not knocking it when I say it's like the Joel Schumacher of the series. You know, I do watch Joel Schumacher as going, you know, these aren't real Batman movies, although they have the term Batman in the name. You know, these aren't exactly wrestling comic books. I mean, this one here was Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, he comes into town. He's beating up a gang where they're peddling weapons and drugs. You know, he's here to save the day. You know, Undertaker books do, you know, something similar. The Rock, Mankind, China, they did a series on, you know, a special on them. Very little mention of wrestling at all, if any. I'll be honest with you, I read that book a couple of times before I did this. I don't remember seeing anything about wrestling. When I read the Rock book, I don't remember much on that either. And kind of like the Joel Schumacher, a little bit better though, is going to be the WWE Superstars series, authored by Mick Foley. I just say that you know, it is better than that. It's not because Mick Foley is one of my influences. You know, before I was doing comedy actually before Mick Foley was, but I love the way Mick Foley would be able to look into a camera and touch your soul. You know, the old Dusty Rhodes way, baby. I'm reaching out, touching you. But that is a terrible Dusty Rhodes, by the way, and I do know that. But, you know, Mick Foley did tell a fun story where, again, I don't really look at it like it's a wrestling series, but he uses wrestlers by their wrestling name as they're, you know, going across Titan City. You know, CM Punk, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Undertaker, again, just to name some. Just about everyone was in it. But it is a fun read. Get around, check it out. Personally, much like the Nolan verse, I love Boom Studios with what they are doing right now with the WWE story. They are keeping it completely kayfabed. Some of the continuity is not the best. as they changed the way the story was as what we saw it on TV. For example, not too many spoilers, because I do not want to spoil things for people. Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns by the pedigree in the books in the series at WrestleMania rather than the curb stomp, which, as most of you wrestling fans out there know right now, the curb stomp's kind of like a banned move. As they're stepping away from the bully and the dangerous head issues and whatnot. But this definitely, the Boom Studios is a great story. It takes you behind the scenes of Seth Rollins on his decision to turn against the Shield. The road he decided to take. The path he paved with the Authority, and kind of along the way of where the tension between him and the Authority really came in. It's definitely an interesting read, and they recently came out with their annual, a very special WrestleMania, where they talk about the ladder match between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. In there as well, they have the Triple H Stephanie storyline leading into WrestleMania 18, which that was the one where he beat Chris Jericho to become undisputed champion. As well as they have a little story in here about Daniel Bryan, which I love Daniel Bryan. I was a huge fan of his. About how everyone always told him that he wasn't big enough and everything like that. How he kept the chip on his shoulder throughout that, and eventually how he became the WWE World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania 30. Completely kayfabing it up though. They're not saying that this is a fake world. They're not saying that what they do is fiction. It is treating it like what you saw on WWE is indeed the full reality of who these people are and what they actually do, and giving you the backstory that we don't see every Monday night for 3 hours, or every Tuesday night for 2 hours, and the occasional Sunday for 3 to 4 hours, or 6 if it's WrestleMania Sunday. So yes, please make sure you're going out checking out the WWE series on Boom Studios. Make sure if you get a chance, check out WWE Superstars, authored by Mick Foley. If you can, get your hands on the Chaos Comics, WWF old line, and check out the WCW comic books that Marvel issued back in the early 90s. All great reads. Like I said in the intro video, make sure you guys are going out to your local comic book store. See if they have these. I guarantee you most of them are going to have the Boom comics. Some of them, might have the old series. The WCW comics go by pretty fast, but I know a lot of them, for a fact, are able to order those for you. So make sure you check with them, see if you're able to order them. I promise you, these books aren't going to be too expensive. I picked these up at Wizard World at a stand. One of the local comic book guys had it, and they're selling them for $5 a piece. Which, yes, the cover says they were $1.25 at one point, but as you know, inflation. So thank you guys very much. Again, my name is Dan Brown, the superhero stand-up comedy. I want you guys to please make sure you're checking out more stuff on the Media Junkies channel. Thank you for tuning in on Comic on Comics. You guys take care.